We live in a world where the economic paradigm is one which works without limits. It seems to assume that natural resources can be consumed without limits. It seems to assume that we can keep producing and keep consuming and it will have no impact on our ability to produce and consume in the future. This is not a good assumption. It doesn't work like that. I think we also live in a world where we sometimes don't recognize the role of natural capital as a resource input into production, as a form of livelihood and well-being for the poor. Clean air, fresh water, nutrients that flow from the forest to the field, they're essential for poor farmers, more than 1.2 billion of them. But we don't recognize these things. So there's a lot that needs to change, and I think that's really what the Green Economy Initiative is here to do. It's here to show to policymakers and to businesses that there is a way of meeting the objective of improved well-being for people and better distribution of wealth across societies, whilst at the same time not endangering ourselves with more and more environmental risks and increasing ecological scarcities. That's really what the Green Economy Initiative aims to do. To me, the greatest challenge is still explaining to people how important they are in influencing climate change. At the end of the day, our footprint is our footprint. It's what we eat and how we live that makes a difference. I think that really is fundamental, and it is really up to governments and leaders, of course, to be able to explain that to people. I think it would be very useful if, as a backdrop to the change that we seek with people and with businesses, that the governments also agreed that there was a way forward and that there were a set of limits that are set in the form of emissions caps. That would be very useful indeed. But it would be useful but not sufficient. What also needs to change is the way people behave and the way business is structured. You see, the corporation today is an animal that results out of 150 years of evolution. It is built to internalize profits and externalize costs. And that's the nature of the corporation. That is not a good thing or a bad thing in terms of morals. It's really the way it is. And understanding this and understanding that profits and the need to seek optimization of shareholder returns is what will drive today's corporation is key, because only then can we understand tomorrow's corporation. Tomorrow's corporation is a different beast altogether. Tomorrow's corporation will evolve. It is going to be an evolution, not a revolution. But that evolution will be to a creature which is completely different from what we understand today. You see, today we have a situation where deforestation generates something like 12 to 14% of the emissions on Earth. Today we have a situation where a lot of the consumption and production that is being generated out of developing countries, either because they produce food or because they produce cheap goods, is driven by demands in the developed world. So given that, today's situation, given the history that most development has been in the developed world by definition, there is clearly an onus of responsibility, and this is very much built into the UNFCCC system. Common but differentiated responsibilities are what this is all about. And those require the developed world to support, and in some cases actually to pay for, the changes that are sought in the developing world. Well, I believe the government and the corporation really have to work together on this. They work together on everything else. I don't see why they should not work together on climate change.